It's the most played, most watched sport in the world. For many Europeans, soccer is the lifeblood of their country and their community. Nowhere is this more true than in Liverpool, England, the home of two football clubs for almost 100 years. For fans like Pete Sempera and Ann Eyre, the game of soccer, and in particular the Liverpool Football Club, are an integral part of their lives.
Since moving to Liverpool, it's become really important. Until you've stood on the terraces, singing in tandem with 20,000 people, it's just tremendous. And it's something that I've found, and I don't want to let go.
I went to study in Liverpool, partly because I was an avid Liverpool football fan. I always knew I wanted to go to Liverpool. And throughout the 1980s, I had a season ticket, so I used to go to every match at weekends, all the home games.
And if they win a title, then I feel as though I've helped them achieve that by cheering them on and being there and being part of it. And tapping into that makes you feel good.
Saturday, April 15th, 1989. Hillsborough Stadium in Sheffield, England, 150 miles north of London, is the neutral site for a semi-final match between Nottingham Forest and Liverpool. The winner will go on to play for the national title.
So I didn't know I had a ticket for the Hillsborough game until the night before, because it's always difficult to get a ticket for the semi-final game. And then a couple of days before, somebody said they might be able to get me a ticket.
Pete Sempera also has a ticket for the match. He arrives at the stadium with his wife's 15-year-old brother Lee Higham and Lee's friend Richie McLaughlin. Ann Eyre is already there with her boyfriend.
When we arrived at the stadium, there were lots of people outside, and we got there quite early, so we didn't want to go in straight away. We just wanted to soak up the atmosphere.
There's thousands of Liverpool supporters around. They're all sort of jovial and singing, and flags and banners, and we thought, well, at least we're here now, you know. And we got to near the town, only 10, maximum 12 yards from the gate to go in. And the crush was just incredible. There was no organisation. Instead of having sort of single files, it just seemed to be a mass of people trying to get in, all worried that we were probably going to miss the kick-off.
I remember getting crushed up against the wall, going into the turnstile. Nothing too dramatic, but uncomfortable.
And I recall saying to a policewoman who was sort of doing quick checks on the other side, and looked straight into her eye and said to her, "Somebody will die today." And I don't know why I said that, but I did. It was really sort of unclear exactly where you do go once you actually got into the area. But we saw this small sign for C block, and to get through into C block you had to walk down a dark tunnel.
And as we came out the other side, it was very packed. Even this was about 2:30 by then.
By 2:40 p.m., as the players take the field for a warm-up, fans standing behind the goal in the Leppings Lane end are already starting to feel the push from behind.
I gradually got quite panicky because it was very full and there were more and more people coming in. And I remember thinking it's just me being pathetic and a bit girly because I haven't been to many games away, and just getting panicky. So I didn't say anything to my boyfriend, I just tried to forget about it.
As the roar of the crowd inside the stadium reaches the outside, it is clear that the players have taken the field. The officer in charge, Superintendent Roger Marshall, can see the reaction of the fans pushing against the turnstiles, desperate to get inside before opening kickoff. He radios a request to postpone the start of the match for 15 minutes, but receives no reply. By 2:55 p.m., 5 minutes before kickoff, the central standing room pens are beyond capacity, straining under the swell of the fans still pushing their way in.
Lee or Richie, I can't remember which one it was, said to me, it's 5-3, we'll be kicking off in a minute. And I said, oh, if it's 5-3, it's 5 minutes, not 1 minute. And I literally got those words out of my mouth. and I just felt this force I've never felt before in my life.
In one of the pens, a crush barrier has broken under the pressure. As people at the front fall forward, their places are immediately filled from behind. Many are trampled underfoot.
I was getting a bit short of breath by then, and somebody just behind me was pulled up onto the stands above. My boyfriend said, "I've got to get you out of here."
It was unnatural. It was pure power. It didn't feel human. It felt like some kind of strange force. And just an enormous push from behind.
Unaware of the casualties inside, Superintendent Marshall makes a decision to try and relieve the mounting crisis outside. He can open a left-hand gate that will direct crowds to an outer pen only half full, or a right-hand gate that will lead them directly into the tunnel to the central pens. He chooses the right-hand gate. 4,000 Liverpool fans pour into the tunnel and onto the already jammed terrace. People in front are pushed screaming down concrete tiers and onto metal fencing, separating them from the field.
When I got up onto the stands and I was looking over the pitch, then I realised the scale of what was happening.
And I managed to sort of take a glance over my shoulder, and all I could see were faces. It was just massive heads.
In the stands, fans cheer as the game kicks off. No one is aware of the tragedy unfolding behind the Leppings Lane goal.
I grabbed Lee and I sort of put him between my legs and put my foot on the wall, the low wall, and grabbed the cage at the front. And I really tried to sort of push back, but couldn't.
The weight of people, you can't imagine. It's just an enormous weight where you can't move. Between my shin and the fence, there was a bloke there. And so there's thousands of people pushing against my leg, pushing against him, and he's pushing onto the fence. At this stage, I remember thinking, well, I'm going to lose my leg here.
I managed to climb on the parallel railing to the top, and Lee's still screaming, and everybody's screaming, and panic, and it's just bedlam, you know, it was absolutely crazy.
I heard somebody say, "That guy, he's dead," and I remember I was quite angry at the time. I didn't want them to be saying that.
I remember this guy saying, "Help this girl." Looks, I said, what girl? I couldn't see a girl, you know, she just not there. And Lee's saying, "Help me," and it was a choice. So I managed to get my arm around Lee, just pulled and pulled, all my strength, you know, and managed just to haul him high enough so that he could start to sort of pull himself out. And for a split second I thought, oh, I'm safe, you know. And then realisation set in, where's Richie? I saw his face, with many others, crushed against the cage at the front. And his eyes were just full, you know, fear. It was like he was looking at me to say, I'm gonna die. I'll never forget that feeling. It's like just cold panic. I felt the outside world switch off. It's like a real coldness in my body. And I can remember in my mind in a fraction of a second thinking, I've got to react or I'm going to shut down.
But Pete doesn't shut down. He reacts quickly. He is able to open a latch on a narrow gate nearby.
I just started pulling people out. It was Richie I was worried about. I managed to just get an arm inside and get hold of his shoulder. All of a sudden he just popped right out. And we dragged each other really, right behind the goal. The game was still going on at this point.
Police react as they watch fans scramble over the fences. Fearing a pitch invasion by hooligans, officers try to force them back, unaware that people are dying not far from where they stand.
This policeman grabbed Lee and said, "Get back in there. What are you doing out here?" And it was the first time I'd heard Lee swear. And he threw a barrage of swear words at this policeman and said, "It's you that should be in there, not our people. It should be you. You should be helping them." And he just turned and walked away.
6 minutes after the opening kickoff, the referee blows his whistle, ending the game.
The clock stops. And in those seconds, it just felt totally helpless, really. You wanted to rip down that fence and do everything to get everyone out.
We knew the extent of what was going on. We knew that people were dying. We could see them, we were standing on them. I can only put it down to self-preservation. I had no thought in my mind to go back for anyone else.
I think I saw somebody who was covered with a jacket. I think that's how I know somebody had died.
Advertising billboards are ripped down and used as stretchers. 40 ambulances are called to the scene, but it is too late for 96 Liverpool supporters. Most of the dead are teenagers and children. The youngest is 10.
First of all, there were reports that 10 people had died, and then 20 people had died, and then it was 30, and then it was 40, and so it was just getting worse and worse and worse.
You don't go to a football match expecting to die. It's not normal.
You're expecting one of the best days out of your life, really. You don't think your whole life is in the hands of other people.
9 days after that fateful Saturday, the flowers are cleared away and the investigation begins. While an initial inquiry finds fault with the police for failing to provide adequate crowd control and with the stadium itself for poor construction standards, an inquest decides 2 years later that no one is to blame, much to the shock and anger of those who were there.
People say, "Well, you did a lot, you did enough," but I don't think I did. And I've become really obsessive about the game. 100% record since the tragedy. Won't miss a match. I want to be there. If it happens again, I'll do it differently. I will save lives, more lives. This time, I've got to.